All right, everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode of Rockland's News. I am not your host today, maybe later on, but more importantly, we have all things sports with our live streamer, Tom Brady. He just came back from Ireland for the Women's Fela football tournament out in Ireland, ages 14 and 15-year-old. So, Tom Brady, take it away.
Thank you, Tom. And we are back, and the team definitely, they did very well. What a great experience for all the kids involved. The New York team, follow the podcast, follow the article that's coming out soon. Give you a little bit of history about the team and a little bit about what Fela is, and being only 14-year-olds and the youngest team in the tournament, they definitely put their best foot forward. A team to be proud of. They did amazing. They took it right down to the last game where they could have qualified for the playoffs but didn't. And coaches, trainers, managers for the New York team was amazing. And what made that so special for us here in Rockland was there's 24 girls on the team. 10 of the players were from the Rockland club. 2 of the 4 coaches, managers, trainers were from the Rockland club, including the head coach, Mark Homerford. So it was a Rockland-heavy story, something to be very proud about. They will be doing something for the team down at the RGAA club in Orangeburg. So if you keep on their site, keep on following them, you'll see they'll have a little bit of a congratulations for them there. So definitely a great experience. I'm happy to have gone through it as not only your reporter for it, but my daughter being on the team. She's definitely going through that. That letdown phase of, wow, what did we just accomplish? What did I just go through? And it's starting to hit her. The 4.5 months of training, building new friendships, relationships, and things like that. So, the team's planning a couple more team events this summer, people hosting sleepovers and pool parties and things like that. So the team definitely came together on the social and the things, which was amazing. So as we sit here, we're on the cusp of July 4th weekend. And, what does that mean? Well, this year, obviously, for America is fantastic, the 250th birthday of America. So let's hope everybody, celebrates in a safe fashion. But what does that mean for our athletes? Well, if you're a high school or college athlete and you're a seasonal sport person, this is basically your last weekend to go out and have your fun. The full athletes will finish their last phase of their training, their strength and conditioning, basically starting next Monday, after the kids have their weekend at the shore, whatever they do. Next Monday they will finish, basically like being the strength and conditioning coach. It'll be the last phase of their strength training and getting into the heavy conditioning, mobility, and speed training. So they're at optimal level come day one of camp. No matter when their camp starts for the fall teams. Fall teams usually start, sometime about mid-August. So you're looking at about a 5.5 week window. So all the athletes out there, especially if you're looking for something, that little extra boost, again, I'm Coach Tom Brady, strength coach, tjb@gmail.com. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, personal trainer, and holistic lifestyle coach. So if you're looking for that little extra boost, getting into your season this summer, give me a shout, and then hopefully I can help you out with that. So as we lean into summer season, sports definitely fall off a little bit. Basically, unless you follow Major League Baseball, which even the most avid fan kind of tails off mid-season. So we pretty much look to the fall. What does that mean here in America? Football. As soon as we turn the calendar after July 4th, it seems like all eyes turn to, when does your favorite training camp start, whether it's pro, college, or your high school. And, when does the season start? People start looking at the schedules, planning on going to games, when they're going to watch games and things like that. So we will have a lot of our updates for the fall season by early August. with, all your fall sports, your football, your soccer, your field hockey, and volleyball, and so on, for your local colleges and your local high schools, and any big story that stands out on the youth sports and the things. So if there's anything, if you're a coach, AD out there, email me, strengthcoachtjb@gmail.com. If there's something big and special coming up for one of your school teams this coming season, please get in touch with me. I'll get in touch with you, and we'll bring to light the situation of whether it's the team or the individual or the coach that looks to accomplish something great this season. So with that on the docket, what we want to talk about is safety during the summer. Let's talk about the health end of things. Everybody knows, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Well, one of the things from a health standpoint that I can't stress enough, unfortunately, society-wise, and this is a pendulum that swings back and forth, every 5 to 8 years. People get a little too worried about, salt on their food, not this, not that. Well, if you're experiencing dehydration, cramping, whether you're very active or you're not, remember that sodium is imperative for the human body and for soft tissue. So sometimes I'm even requiring some clients, they need to start adding, a little bit, a teaspoon of salt to their first glass of water in the morning. So if you wake up with that, a lot of people get that calf cramp at night while they're sleeping. Obviously it's a tight muscle, tight soft tissue that you got to work on, get a little bit stronger, stretch it, and a little bit more mobile. But, what are the nutrients you're giving that soft tissue? So we talk about the heat wave today, where we're supposed to be hitting 105 or something. So if you find that you just struggle with your hydration, but yet you're drinking enough, think about just adding a teaspoon of salt. And I prefer people do it earlier in the day. Because what's the number one thing that either gets into your eyes or rolls onto your tongue when you're sweating outside? The first thing you think, salt. Yeah, it's leaving your body, but your body needs it. So you got to replenish it. So please remember that. Obviously, without overdoing it, like everything, in moderation, it's 100% healthy for you. So just a little quick health tip going into this crazy heat wave that we got coming. People who, a heat wave going into a holiday weekend, sometimes that's a bad mixture when you start adding alcoholic drinks and things like that. So please keep hydration, on the front end of everything that you're doing. And even if you're out there at a barbecue this weekend, after you have a drink, have a half a glass of water before you have your next one. Little things like that will help you out. So, from the health end of things, I wanted to help people out like that, because that's an imperative tip from now over the next 6 to 8 weeks that we deal with this type of heat, or we get this type of heat here in the Northeast. So with all that, I want to thank everybody, for listening to All Things Sports. Please check out the podcast story of the girls' trip to Ireland. That was fantastic. And the written article, like I said, will be out soon, hopefully by this weekend or early next week. And it's a great story. The RGAA down in Orangeburg. If you're not familiar with it, or a lot of people are.
Oh, something happened there. Not exactly sure what happened. Tom, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're back. Go ahead.
So at the GAA, it's Gaelic Athletic Association. So yeah, there are athletic fields there, everybody. So go look at what goes on down there. In the fall, there's a huge event. So if you find yourself being drawn to this story and you say, what is Gaelic football? In September, there's a great event that happens every year. The New York City Firemen play the New York City Police Department Gaelic football teams at the RGAA in September, followed by, live bands, music, social event. So, we'll get that date up here as soon as the date's finalized down there. So if any sports fan gets a little bit interested in this and you want to see what it's all about, that is a great start. You get to see some of the best of the best who played when they were younger, obviously, who are great at what they do. So we'll keep you up to date on that end of things. So with all that, this is Tom Brady, All Things Sports here on Rockland News. I want to thank Of course, we want to thank all of our sponsors out there who keep us going. The Kobe Sushi, Yabu Fence Company, and Noco Joe's Barbecue and Sports Pub down in Piermont. We thank them for supporting us and doing what we do. And I want to thank you, the listeners, for continuing to tune in and tell a friend. Tell a friend. All right. Tom Brady, All Things Sports here on Rockland News.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. And I really appreciate that you sent over the audio podcasts literally from Ireland, sent it over to us, and that will be available this weekend. We're going to have the full story of what happened. It was available as a live stream on Tuesday, but we want to tell the story in digital print as well. And you can see that on Rockland's News today at around 3 o'clock or so. I think that's when it'll be done. And it's basically a chronicle of everything that happened. If you have a few more minutes, I wanted to talk with you just about the range of emotions that occurred out in Ireland, and it was, I listened to every one of those 20 audio clips that you sent over, interviews with the parents, interviews with the coaches, and also updates from the actual events. So what was it like you started off like, Led Zeppelin walking down the runway from the airport, right? And there was a lot of enthusiasm and hope. And, obviously nobody got the result that they wanted. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But what was it like dealing with those range of emotions? And you still kept it hopeful at the end. I heard that, it's like, they came out there, they tried their hardest, but, the emotions are still there. How did that play out for yourself as well as everybody there that experienced it?
It was exactly that. It was the full range of emotions. And let me tell you, like the excitement of, when we arrived at the airport, realizing that, wow, 4.5 months, here's the team that was brought together. Here's the team, or here's the 24 individuals that were brought together, created to be a team by the coaches, managers, and trainers. And then seeing the development, and like I said, a few times being on the inside, watching my daughter go through it. So I saw it firsthand. I was at many of the practices. I watched everything, being a strength and conditioning coach, being a 20 years plus experience coaching, plus being an athlete when I was younger. It was amazing. I loved every second of it. And then you can hear that and some of the parents, they got into it too, especially the ones who played Gaelic football when they were young, who never had this opportunity, and all of a sudden they get to see their kid go through it. So the excitement, the buildup was intense, for as intense as you can get for 14, 15-year-old age range, but realizing that the Féile Gaelic football tournament in Ireland, they only put the best of the best out there. So your child's going up against the home country, who this is their home sport. We here in America play 10 different sports. You go over there, it's all Gaelic football, and soccer is second. So that's not likely in a lot of European countries. But seeing what the parents went through, seeing what the coaches went through, and then seeing what the players went through, it was great to see all the work go into it. And then all of a sudden, all right, great, they're excited to get on the plane. Great. When the wheels touched down, there was definitely, I looked at the coach's eyes. And then when they took the team, we went our separate ways. Our child went with the team. They went on a separate team bus, and boom, they were off. We didn't see them. They went to their breakfast right away as a team. We had to rent our car, meet them at the hotel, and you could see it in the coach's eyes. You could see it in the demeanor of the way they were talking to the kids. Like, hey, this is next level now. The discipline's got to be there. Your focus has got to be there. And each night at the hotel, first night, obviously, there's the excitement of being there. You're dealing with 14-year-old girls. Things are going to happen. So each night, even the bed checks got a little bit more strict. The last night before the tournament, they took their cell phones away at 10 p.m.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that particular episode. You was like, 10 o'clock tonight, no more cell phones. That's got to be traumatic for a 14-year-old.
Right. And so anybody out there who has a child that age, imagine that, right? We do that to discipline our kids. this was done mandatory to make sure you got your rest and your focus was there when you woke up, focusing on the team and the games. So, that was phenomenal when I heard that, because I've used that technique in youth sports too, at practices and games, not allowing cell phones onto the court and onto the practice field. So seeing that build up from the kids' end was great. And then obviously I'm socializing with the parents, and I saw the same exact intensity with the parents. When we landed, yeah, it was great. The social aspect, I went surfing one morning. I played a little bit of golf, but when we changed hotels to go to the hotel before the tournament, it was great to see, like, wow, the parents had the look in their eye, and everybody did. And this was something a little different. And I was so proud to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That, you could realize, like, wow, this is really cool.
Right.
So, I love to get into intense things like that. So it was absolutely amazing. And then when we get to the fields, like you said, it didn't work out for the team, but the girls were fantastic.
But they
dealt with the first game.
They were at a disadvantage too, because of the 14-year-old getting, from what I understand, the 14-year-olds were put into the 15-year-old age bracket.
Yes. So yeah, there was a little bit of issue with that. They did not allow New York to bring the 15-year-olds this year. New York has had a lot of success over there, winning the championship. I believe it's like 6 out of 9 years or something like that.
Right.
The past 9 years. So basically Ireland said, if you guys want to come back, you can only bring 14-year-olds.
Wow.
So that was a decision on the New York, and that's the New York Gaelic, a minor board that makes that decision. Do we send the team or not? That's not like the Rockland club or even all the individual clubs.
Right.
There's a minor board that controls everything. So they said, let's do it. Everybody backed the decision. And the best thing about that, you didn't hear anybody, coaches, players, parents,
nobody complained
about that one bit. Nothing. They said, you know what? This is our team. They put it together. They trained. They worked. Let's go. And
nice.
It was great to be a part of that, because we know this day and age excuses are made and can be blown out of proportion.
Right.
Mostly from the parental side of child athletes. And it was fantastic that you didn't hear it. We just were rooting on the team. Play your best. Put your best foot forward. Let's see what happens.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad that you guys, first of all, obviously made it back safe and sound, but I'm glad that you guys went for it. It almost feels like, I try to be metaphorical and add in movies, but it's almost like Sparta versus the invaders. It's like the 14-year-olds are going there, and it's like, all right, we're probably not going to pull this off, but we give it our best shot. I remember back in when I was going to Rockland Community College back in the 90s, I was on the tennis team, and I remember this one time we were supposed to go up again. The two main teams were Dutchess and Nassau they were like 9-0 for the season thus far. And we had to play Nassau. And our coach, Coach Meyer, we were on the bus, and he said, look, I got to tell you the truth. We're probably going to lose today. Probably going to lose. So go out there, have fun, play your best. Don't worry about the score. Don't worry about it. Just go out there and have a good time and enjoy the moment of playing against an elite team. And whether you win or lose, that doesn't matter. It's really, you just go out there and you play your best. You follow the rules. There's not that many worries about it on tennis, but it's like, oh, the fuzzy yellow got off the ball, but we won. Right. We actually, in that particular case, we ended up winning, and it was great. Now, the next week we got our asses kicked by Dutchess. That's a whole other story. But the point is that, in other words, you went out there, you went out to Ireland, and you had 14-year-olds that were competing with people that were, you said it in the live stream 2 weeks ago. It's like when women hit the 15-year-old age versus 14, there's a lot of physical changes that occur. So, it's you're fighting an uphill battle, but they went out there, they didn't complain. They got the job done, which was to be in the tournament. And, hey, you know what? It's the disappointments that propel our achievements sometimes. So kudos to you guys for making the whole trip round and round.
Yeah, and it's exactly that sentiment on the parents' end. There's no regrets on anything. Um, you, you, nobody is upset that they put this team over to go over. And I'm not going to say lead the lambs to slaughter, but
No,
they didn't. We didn't get slaughtered. We put a respectful showing, and I think we put such a respectful showing that if Ireland ever allows our 15-year-olds again, it won't be next year because they won't want to see this team come back.
right.
And they won't. They won't. So unfortunately, it won't be next year because they put on a good enough showing where they know that if they allow this group to come back next year, there's going to be a different result, and there's going to be a purpose with the team. But like I said, nobody made excuses. Nobody did anything. We supported the team, and that was it. You didn't hear about it, which was great. That attitude from the top down, from the New York State Minor Board all the way through every coach, player, manager, and parent involved. That's what made this incredible. And the girls did well. I'm not going to say that we didn't get blown out. They won 1 out of 2 games. One game was what a dogfight in the second half of that last game. So it was a very solid showing. And listen, only one team wins the championships. It doesn't matter how many teams are in a tournament. Only one team wins.
Exactly.
So, and like you said, to your point about the 15-year-old girls, the first team we play against, which actually ended up being the strongest team in the tournament, the winners, their goalie was 6 feet tall. So, how many,
wow.
How many girls do you see coming from Ireland that are 6 feet tall? Here in the U.S., they'd be playing basketball. So when you see a goalie 6 feet tall, and not only 6 feet tall, that you think, oh, are they uncoordinated? No, she's a superstar athlete.
Amazing.
Like, she was incredible. Yeah. So like I said, the experience top to bottom was no regrets, and it was perfect. It was I wouldn't have had it any other way with this group.
Good. I'm glad. Well, Tom Brady, all things sports. And just as a reminder, you can catch Tom Brady every Friday on this platform on Rockland News. We live stream to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and a whole lot more coming up this summer. And then you can catch the podcast afterwards on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And then, of course, you can catch the written version of the stories at rocklandsnews.com. We published approximately 10 to 20 stories a week. We got 500,000 page views per year and 4 million on social. So that's a pretty good start. So, and one of the big important parts of that is Tom Brady, because a long time ago, a colleague of mine said, you got to add sports. So I figured, let's find the best. We got Tom Brady.
Yeah, listen, I'm more than happy to be part of this. This is excellent.
Yeah, brother. Awesome. All right. So we want to thank our sponsors, the New York Boulders baseball team, Yabu Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, Fiesta Acapulco, Kobe Sushi, Breakpoint Bowling, Whole Shot Bagels, Stony Point Massage, and we got a few more. UPS Store in West Haverstraw. They do great business cards over there. Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, 99 Signs for all your digital billboard and portable sign needs, FZ Perfection Auto Body Repair, and Clean Space Maintenance Management Company. On behalf of Tom and Tom, thank you everybody for joining us on AM Rockland's News, All Things Sports. We'll be back momentarily with some news, traffic, weather, and some information about how everything's going to play out on the weather-wise for America 250 Independence Day tomorrow, Saturday, July 4th. Take care for now and stay cool today.